Hey there guys, welcome back for another Warhammer Imperium magazine review. This week we are taking a look at issue 5 of the Warhammer Imperium magazine. And with this issue we get to learn about Primaries Captains, and with that we get a Primaries Captain. So this model here is a limited model, I would say limited edition. It's limited to this magazine. You cannot buy this anywhere else other than eBay, where scalpers have gone and grabbed a ton of these issues and are selling them at 2 to 3 times the price, which I think is totally out of order, but that is a whole nother video. Hopefully you guys managed to pick up 1 or 2 copies for yourselves, and hopefully you weren't greedy and went out and bought more with the intention of selling them at too much of a profit, or at a profit. Me, I only got the 1 issue. I'm trying to get another copy of it. For the model I want to do a like a small diorama piece. If I can get the other model, then I'll be doing that, and if it works out well, then I'll be doing him for a giveaway when the channel reaches 1,000 subscribers. Now that's not a promise yet, because obviously I have to try and get the model, I have to make the diorama, but if it does, fingers crossed, we can get a nice little giveaway for when I finally, at some point, hopefully reach 1,000 subscribers. Anyway, like I said, this model is a glue fit. He's not push fit. He comes all on this sprue. He has no chapter markings on him, so there's nothing here saying that he is ultramarine. As far as I can tell, yes, he does have a little mark in the back of his head, so if you don't want to use this halo laurel piece, whatever it is, you will have to do a little bit of filling in the back or swap his head out for something else. But aside from that, as far as I can see, there is nothing else here saying that he is an ultramarine. The only thing you may want to do if you are doing 3D, textured shoulder pads, then you're going to want to swap this one out, which will require a little bit of cutting away, some, a slight modification. But yeah, aside from that, he's a pretty cool looking model. Nothing overly special about him, other than the fact that he has a power sword and a plasma pistol. And in the rules, that is not a combination, that's not a legal loadout. Now, whether or not Games Workshop will change that, I don't know. It could be that they've done this so that this model loses any real value for use outside of the collection, because obviously we're only going to have the rules from this collection, which wouldn't be usable in games outside of the magazine, as far as I'm aware. Obviously if you're playing friends and family or whatever, then yes you can, but in tournaments and stuff I can't see him being allowed to use the data sheets from this collection. Games Workshop may update the codexes at some point to allow a power sword and plasma pistol. If you don't want to use the plasma pistol, you can easily clip this off and replace it with a neo-volkite, which is legal, or a heavy bolt pistol, something like that, but we just can't do this setup. So yeah, that's the model. So with this issue we also get a fold out. It's a 3-piece fold out. I don't think it will fit on the camera. Oh, look at that. I'm using my older webcam. Gonna get a little bit more of a blurry picture. It's not as good a quality as the iPhone that I've been using, but I can't get the audio right using the iPhone's microphone. For some reason the audio goes distorted when it gets transferred to the PC. Hence issue 1 and 2 needing a voiceover for those issues. So yeah, until I can get a better webcam, which will be after Christmas, I'll be using this one for these reviews, and then using the iPhone for the painting, which will give a better, clearer picture. But obviously you have these issues anyway, so you know what you're getting. You can look at your own. So this pull out here, we've got the Necrons at War. From beneath the barren, rocky surfaces of a Necron tomb world, the forces of Saracen dynasty rise to confront Eldari trespassers. In the face of the Necron dynasty's world-shattering weapons, the Eldari intruders will surely be ground to dust. Now, I'm a traditional or an old school 40k player, so when I came back to this in 8th edition, after a little bit of break, I noticed or realised that they'd changed the names of some of the races. For example, the Eldari, I know them as Eldar, so if I happen to call them Eldar, then these are the guys that I'm on about, just reference for future videos. If Sisters of Battle are now Adeptus Solaritas, and again I will refer to them as the Sisters or Sisters of Battle. And Dark Eldar, I can't remember what they have changed their name to, but I will refer to those as Dark Eldar. As far as I'm aware, they're the only changes, and then obviously you've got things like Adeptus Mechanicus and Imperial Guard. Astra Militarum, I will refer to them as Imperial Guard from time to time, just because that's the name that I'm used to. Anyway, looking at this here, we've got a pretty cool look at the Necron Force. Now, this isn't everything that we get in the Imperium collection, and it does actually include quite a few models that we don't get. This one here being one of them. Now, this is a Catan Shard. It would have been great to have had this in the set for the Necron side. Obviously, we get Rabute Gilliman for the Ultramarines. It would have been nice to have got this guy as well, but I think price wise this might have been a little bit too much for the magazine. We do get the Royal Warden here, we get the Cryptek here, we get the Heavy Necron Destroyer, so the Heavy Destroyer there, and the Immortals, trying to think of the name then, the Immortals here, and then the Necron Warriors. We do get the Scorpex and the Scorpec Lord, I believe we get. We don't get a Monolith, which is a shame, but again, it's a large model, it's a pricey model, so I can understand why we wouldn't be getting that. Who else do we have? We have here a, I can remember the name of this, it's a Canoptec Doomstalker, that's the one. I think it's Doomstalker. Very similar to, we do get one similar to it. We get the Reanimator. It doesn't have this gun on top, and I would have preferred this to the Reanimator, but never mind. And then for the big guy here, the Silent King, the sort of the biggest HQ unit that Necrons can have. We don't get him. I would love him, but we will not be getting him. And then we got some Praetorians, I believe they are, or Lich Guard, I cannot remember which is which, I always get them mixed up, but we do get a unit of these down here, and I've just noticed him, we don't get the newer model, I cannot remember what it's called, but he's got the one with the 6 guns, we don't get him. But yeah, there's a pretty cool looking army there. Obviously it's got some explanations of the different sections, so we got the Royal Court, the Catan Shards, the Legions, the Canoptec Constructs, the Armory, the Silent King. Flipping that over, we now work this like this. So we've got the Dynasty Hierarchy. So Necron society is organised to a strict dynastic code. From the imperious nobility all the way down to the mighty legions that march out to enforce their master's wills. Few tomb worlds break from this rigid martial order, for it has served the Necron race well for many thousands of years. Then we've got the hierarchy of the Necrons. So we've got the fair one, comes down to the Royal Court, and attached to that are the Armory and the Praetorians. Then we've got the Outcasts and the Legions. Then below them, excuse me, below them we've got the Canoptecs, and then below them the Catan Shards. So going through this, we've got the Praetorians, Triarch Praetorians and Triarch Stalkers make up these. These beings serve as judges and enforcers of the Silent King's will. Then the armory, we got the fair one, Mighty Lord. Oh no, sorry, this is fair one. We got Mighty Lord and ruler of the dynasty and its legions. So as far as I'm aware, the fair one would be the Silent King, and he's the only fair one that we have, if I'm right, that he's a fair one. Then we've got the Royal Court. So this group is comprised of overlords, lords, cryptecs, and a variety of other lesser Necron nobles. Now we've got the legions. These are your monoliths. No, sorry, that's the armory. The way they've put this. So the legions are your warriors and your immortals, so your main troops. The armory is the monoliths, doomsday arcs, annihilation barges, aircraft, you know, things like that, vehicles and whatnot. Then the outcasts, so the destroyers and the flayed ones. Now the reason they're called the outcasts is that after millennia, or you know, thousands and thousands of years of being in stasis, essentially their minds have been damaged, and basically they're crazy, and they are considered viral, and the disease that they have can turn other areas crazy as well. So they keep them off to the side. They don't let them join the main network, so they pretty much work on their own. They are only awakened when needed. But for that we have the destroyers and the flayed ones. Then moving down, the Canoptec. So we've got the Canoptec constructs. Basically these things are slaves. They don't have much of a mind of themselves anymore. Canoptec spiders, raves, scarabs, doomstalkers, you know, basically nothing that's overly great. And then right below them are the Catan shards, and they are considered not even worthy of being a slave. They are the old gods shattered into these shards that contain a fragment of the god, but is still powerful enough to become one of these and take out your enemies. So this is a fragment. Imagine if all the fragments of this particular god were put back together, how powerful that being would be. Not something the galaxy needs. So yeah, that is the Dynasty Hierarchy. So then we've got a little bit on the fair ones, legions. There's some cool artwork. Alright, so taking a look inside the issue, we have the Primaries Captain. So he gets his Imperial laurel. He gets some service studs on his head. Each stud represents either 10, 50 or 100 years of service to the chapter. Then we got the Iron Skull. So this is awarded for exceptional leadership while in the heat of combat. That I didn't actually know. We've got his little Crux Terminatus. These are born by veterans of the chapter's first company and officers. So an officer is typically made an officer from the first chapter to then lead from the first company, sorry, and then he'll lead or command the other companies. So typically most captains, or almost all captains, will have served in the first company, which is considered the elite, the specialist and veterans of the chapter. Then we've got Marksman Honors. So this little bolt shell thing down here. These gold-plated shell casings are awarded for accurate shooting. He's got his fancy cape, because you know all heroes and captains need capes, so he gets his. And then his weapons are a mastercrafted power sword and a plasma pistol. And as I said, this is actually an illegal loadout. You can't use it in official games of 40k unless they are about to update the rules a little bit. But we'll see that in time to come. Then we have his battle record. So we can give him a name, his titles, his leadership style. Then we can name his pistol and name his sword. We got his act of valor and a record of his battle. So tools of war. Whether based aboard a colossal starship or within the looming walls of a fortress monastery, such as the Dark Angels have. All Space Marine chapters maintain a vast armoury stacked high with weapons and armour ready to be unleashed upon the Emperor's foes. So this here, this nice little bit of artwork, is a Space Marine waiting to be equipped with his armour, and he has all these plugs and such over him that he gains throughout the process of becoming a Space Marine that his armour actually attaches to, and that's how his armour then reads his vital signs directly from his body and his implants. And then we have here, they're not servitors, so I'm assuming they're some sort of squire type thing that will carry and mount the armour for them. Some chapters do use servitors, and yeah, there's a Space Marine. So then we have tools of war. We got the weapons, so we got the chainsword, which is typical of most captains to have, if they don't, or most lieutenants I should say. Most officers will have a chainsword, otherwise it will be upgraded to one of these other ones, such as a power sword, a power axe, a thunder hammer, and a power fist. And then we got force weapons, typically used by psychers, and they'll manifest their psychic power through the force weapon there. Right, then we have the Roar for Ramassus Megaria. So this is the moon known as Megaria orbits the gas giant Gleantha, the largest planet in the Ramassus system. For generations, this desolate, dusty rock has been host to the majority of Rasmus heavy industry. Since the Necron invasion, however, the moon's refineries have fallen silent. And as far as I understand it, this is where our Imperium campaign takes place. So all the missions that we play, all the playthroughs, right the way through the collection, will be fought on this moon and maybe a planet or two. But seeing as the moon orbits a gas giant, I can't see anything being fought on there. It is most likely to be all about the moon. So we've got some important locations on Megaria. So we've got the Vanstadt Spaceport, Blast Mine Theta, the Administratum Complex, and a Necron repair facility. And obviously it gives a little bit of explanation. So this gives you an idea of the kind of battles that we can expect, or the kind of environments that we'll be expecting to fight. And if you enjoy creating your own terrain, then obviously you've got some ideas here. So you could build part of a spaceport. You can make a tabletop that is pretty much just a giant quarry or part of a quarry and the mines and that. So yeah, plenty to do with that. Right, so moving on, we've now got part where we get stories. So as in the Mortal Realms, we would get a little bit of a story based within the Mortal Realm. Within the Mortal Realms, focusing around the factions. This one, similar thing, focusing, I'm assuming it's going to be around the Space Marines or the Necrons. In this case, looks like the Space Marines. So, from their lair deep within the warp, the bloodthirsty Crimson Slaughter have emerged to strike at the Imperium. In their path stand the Fulminators, a chapter of Primaries Space Marines. Beneath the spires of the Shrine World, Timia's pride, loyalist and traitor clash in the midst of a violent storm. And then obviously we've got a little bit of a story that does cover 2 pages, or a page and a half. So nice little bit of reading there. and I do like stories for 30k and 40k, so I will be reading through these ones. Then we have the how to build, and obviously this shows us how to build the Primaries Captain. They're showing things such as removing mould lines, which is always good. Make sure you clean those areas up. The yellow markings here are where we will apply glue, because he's not a push fit model, he does need applying, but always dry fit before you apply the glue. Make sure that your pieces line up, that they fit nice and snug together, and you know that they're aligned properly. Then apply your glue and put it back into that same position, confident that the pieces line up smoothly. So obviously follow this guys on how to assemble him. Unless you are doing some conversions and stuff, then it's not going to make too much difference, or it's not going to be needed, I should say. But yeah, otherwise if you're building him to look like this, then go ahead and follow these instructions. But he is pretty much self-explanatory. Just make sure that you get things like the shoulder pauldron and the little symbol thing here lined up in the right spot so that they sit right. Then we got the how to paint. So obviously we're going to paint him in Macragge blue that we got in an earlier issue. And if you want to see how I paint him, obviously he's going to be a Dark Angels captain. Check out that link right there, and you can see how I go about painting him. So, rallying the troops. Now this is our playthrough, so I'm not going to read this. We're going to just have a quick sort of glance through it. Check the link there on the playthrough, and as I mentioned in the last few playthroughs, hit the like button on the playthrough if you enjoy them and you want me to continue doing them after issue 7 or 8, maybe up to issue 10. If I see that there is enough interest in that and you guys are leaving comments, feedback, and hitting those like buttons, then I'll be encouraged to continue doing them. So, rallying the troops. With his troops scattered and fully engaged with the Necron foe, the captain in command of the Ultramarines force seeks to rally the Space Marine and ensure the Necron foe is defeated. So obviously this battle is going to be between the captain that we've just got and the Scorpec destroyers that we got in the last issue. This does go into now armor penetration. I think this is new. They've highlighted it in red with abilities, so these are the things that we are learning new for this issue. And obviously there'll be a setup and a playthrough, but do check how I play through it, and hopefully you guys are enjoying the playthroughs. And then obviously coming to the end, let's take a look at next week's issue. So next week we get issue 6. Now I know I'm behind on these issues by a few weeks, so when I say next week I mean the next video next week that I will be doing will be on issue 6. But I think at the time of you seeing this video we are roughly on issue 10 or 11. But yeah, so issue 6 we get 3 Primaris Aggressors and Abaddon Black. Now these are the easy build aggressors. They're not the ones that you can buy from Games Workshop's website that come with the alternate loadout options. These are push fit and they are flame gauntlet only. But I do have a conversion video coming soon where I'm going to convert these guys into Deathwing Terminators instead, just because I feel that they have a nice little Terminator look to them. But with that issue I will be painting these guys up as Primaris Aggressors for my Dark Angels. Then issue 7 we get 3 paints. That will be value for money. 3 paints I think is £2.75 a time. So if you're looking at what's this, 2, 4, 6, 7, £8.50, so a little bit of a loss, but we do get 3. Now previously in Mortal Realms, if you remember, we only got 2 paints on the paint side of it, but that would have been too much of a loss for the amount that we are now paying for the issue, so they're doing 3 paints at a time instead. Like I say, not quite worth the money in terms of the magazine, but when you look at the collection as a whole, you are still saving money overall. So yeah, that's the end of the episode, guys. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button. If you are not yet subscribed, hit that subscribe button, and if you are newly subscribed, welcome to the inner circle. Thank you for your support. But until next time, guys, take it easy and keep painting those minis.